You're listening to Elite Spotlight, presented by Elite Artists Network. And now, here's your host, Michael Masci.
Well, a very good afternoon to everybody out there. My name is Michael Masci. Of course, this is the Michael Masci podcast. And as always, I am joined by my producer and my wife, Blanca. Hello, Blanca.
Hello, Michael. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic. As you can see, we are periscoping right here, and we are Facebook live streaming right here. And we have a fantastic guest today, one of our favorites.
Absolutely.
She won the Food Network Star. She hosts the $10 dinners. She's got fabulous cookbooks out, Supermarket Healthy, and just a fantastic person.
And she has an incredible personality.
And you're going to meet her right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Melissa the Arabian. How are you?
Hello, Michael. Hello, Blanca. How are you? Nice to talk to you.
Oh, we are great.
I'm so happy to have you on the show.
So are you calling us from California right now?
I am. I'm calling you from my office, my home office in Coronado. Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful there.
Oh, we love Coronado. That's among our favorite places.
Well, it's one of my favorite places too. Well, now it is my very favorite place, which is why we live here. People always ask us, oh, do you film in Coronado or do you, Nope. My husband and I, neither of us has our job in Coronado. We live here purely because we love it. And so we feel very blessed to be here, and our kids love the schools here. And so, so we're very grateful to be here.
The one drawback is you just have terrible weather there, right?
It is such a bummer. We joke, and we're only half joking, that since it got cold this past week, I've had to break out my Toms, which are my winter shoes, and then my flip-flops are my summer shoes. So, but it's crazy because 2 weeks ago, I was traveling for work. 2 weeks ago, my kids had a bunch of heat days because we don't have air conditioning in the school. If it gets hot, like if it gets in the 90s, it is actually unsafe for the kids to be inside because of, of course, the way, the greenhouse sort of effect makes it hotter inside than it is outside. So kids can't be in school in the afternoons. So our kids had like a bunch of days off a couple weeks ago. And then like last night we were out and we're like wearing hats and gloves, and it was crazy. So
that is.
Yeah.
Wow, heat days. Oh my gosh. Well,
I know, isn't that crazy? People are getting snow days, and our kids are like, oh, okay, well, we're going to the beach today not after school, instead of school because it's so hot. So anyway, What can you do?
I'll tell you, problems, right? Mm.
Yeah, we have lots of foul weather over here in Florida too. It's called humidity. Yeah. Bad hair days every day.
Well, I got to tell you, Melissa, I met you. I was performing on a cruise ship over in Europe, and I met you and your fantastic family. How are they doing, by the way? How is everybody?
They are great. We were actually just talking about you yesterday as we were sort of, winding down our day and talking about what tomorrow looks like, and, just figuring out the family logistics as you do. Anyway, and so then it came up, that, what's theater before, and how, the cruise and the, piano lounge. And so anyway, yes, they're doing great. Valentine's a big dancer, and so she's so dedicated to that. And that takes a lot of our family energy and time. But I really do believe that for her, being in the studio, she'll go to school, she's in middle school now, she'll go to school all day. And then I'll race her over. She'll come home and she'll race out her homework and get that done and really try to get the rule is homework must be done before we go to dance. And so she's very diligent about doing it on weekends and getting it done so that she doesn't miss dance. And then I'll take her to the dance studio and she'll dance for 6 hours. And, she'll be eating her dinner at, 9:30 in the car on the way home. And,
oh my goodness.
And, she'll be sweaty and exhausted, but in the best way possible. She gets in the car at the end of a day like that, and she's her best person. And I really do believe that when we're, as parents, we're trying to, discern when we want our kids to be involved in activities and when we don't, and how much we want them to be kids, and we want, all of these things that we're trying to balance. And I think that what I'm learning with my daughters now, they're now 11, 10, 9, and 9.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, they're so big now.
I know they grew up, and
Oh my gosh.
when I see them be their best person, that's a really big clue that something great is going on there. And so for me, Valentine really is her best person. Not just when she's, performing, although she loves to perform and does dance competitions or whatever. She loves that. Great. But that's not what I'm talking about. She's her best person when she comes out of 6 hours in the studio, sweaty, and it's unglamorous. In the unglamorous moments of whatever activity, every activity has unglamorous moments. Whatever those unglamorous moments are, I'm learning to pay attention to whether my child is her best person in that unglamorous moment, or is it bringing out sort of her worst. And so anyway, yeah, they're all doing great, and they're busy, and Charlotte's busy doing a bunch of baking and cooking, and has a big sale tomorrow that she's doing. And the twins are, involved in soccer, and so Charlotte. And anyway, they are all doing wonderfully, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be their mom.
Oh, that is so wonderful. And I remember that they really participated with you on the ship. You were so sweet because you wanted to, you wanted to show all of the guests there, some of your expertise, and you were really involved on the ship. You didn't just go out there and relax. You actually went and helped a lot of people. And you are a treasure chest of information when it comes to cooking and how to shop right. And it's amazing.
Yeah, you rattle off all those.
Well, thank you
like
so
nothing.
much. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I used to work on cruise ships, so it was hard for me not to have them, step them aside and go up and call a game of bingo.
I know.
But yeah, so that's a real comfort space for me is the cruise ships and being involved. So what a delight to have been a part of that. And we were on vacation, so we were just sort of there on vacation. My poor husband, right? We can't just sit back and order a pina colada and relax. I'm like, no, let's do a smoothie demo. Let's do it.
I know, right?
And be anonymous. No way.
That was great. That was great. Well, I remember you were sharing some stories, about your childhood and how, that we were talking about earlier, that there was someone in your school that really kind of took you under their wing and kind of got you involved in cooking, right? Is that what the story was, right?
Well, I think they got me involved in cooking in that very elemental way, in that it got me, it really opened my eyes to the power of food and the relationship that we have with food and our bodies and our brains and our minds and our well-being and our self-esteem. When I was younger, we didn't have a lot of money. My mom was a single mom in college, putting herself through school, raising two girls, and we really had no money. And so we didn't always have plenty of food for lunches, for me to take a brown bag lunch or whatever. So there were some days I would go to school with like an apple, or like one piece of bread and one piece of lunch meat turkey, like the really thin kind that, like the chopped form, kind, not like a nice chunky piece of turkey, but like one like thin slice that's like, 8 calories.
Right.
And the receptionist at the principal's office noticed that I would, quote unquote, forget my lunch more than the average kid, because at our school, and I think it's the case at most schools, if you forget your lunch, you get a free lunch, and then they send you an IOU that your parents are supposed to then pay. And then, this way, no child is sitting there hungry. But I would keep forgetting my lunch, quote unquote, forgetting my lunch so that I could get a hot lunch. And we never paid the IOUs back, because I never took them to my mom, because it wouldn't have mattered. She wouldn't have had the money to pay it. And rather than yell at me, she called me into the office one day, and I thought I was going to get into big trouble. And instead of yelling at me, she put me on a lunch program, so that I could get free lunch. And
that's wonderful.
And seeing how the difference between sitting in a classroom with your stomach rumbling and sitting in your classroom with a full stomach. I will tell you, I choose full stomach. You learn a lot more if you are nourished. And so that taught me a lot about food, about reaching out and connecting, and how we can sometimes just take one little extra step that can change the entire trajectory of someone's life. And I believe that receptionist did that for me.
Absolutely. That extension of compassion really gave you that idea that, look, we all have these challenges that we must overcome in life, and not everybody's going to criticize or make us feel bad. Somebody's going to say, you know what, I can help you. And I find that that's so inspiring about you, because you've turned this situation that so many young people in our country and around the world have, and you've made such a success story out of it. And we're just so proud of you. We really adore watching your career and you and your family, and you're a real bright spot in our love for food as well.
Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot to me. I really do believe that, while I think that people do know me for food, and I love food, but I love more what food can be, and
Yeah.
what and how it can connect us, and honoring the gift that is food. Both from God or nature to us, but also what that can be when we connect with others around food or give them food. So food is such a
Sharing it.
central part of
Mhm.
our lives. So it's a much bigger story than just, oh, what's a great recipe for whatever. The recipes are important,
Exactly.
and I spend a lot of time on them, but they're only important to me because of the deeper story behind food.
Right. Exactly. It's a great unifier.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
and
It's a great unifier, and it's a great equalizer as well.
it's amazing that food has created so many amazing experiences for you now in your career.
Yeah.
When you were on Food Network, and when you won, obviously you were a natural in front of the camera.
Oh, yeah.
And your knowledge of food, obviously, we understand why you won that. But when you went from being a contestant on that show to having your own show, was that just something really natural for you, or was it just, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to do this and I'm nervous? What was your feeling?
Well, and that was, of course, a while ago. Food Network star, which is
Sure.
awesome, of course, life-changing experience. I will say, even now, 7 years later, I sometimes
Yeah.
think to my husband, we'll sort of say, like, can you believe I actually ended up winning? Like, that's crazy. That was such a crazy sort of thing. But was that natural? I don't think it was natural, for, well, a couple things. One is, the biggest change that happened was that I became a working mom for very little girls. That was the
Right.
Yeah.
biggest change. It was the logistics of, okay, I'm no longer stay-at-home mom, and now I have to travel, and now I have to leave my kids, and like that was the reality of what that year really, that biggest transition. So that was the biggest. And the good news is I'm in good company, because lots of people have gone back to work, and, there are lots of
Sure.
working parents. And so we're all sort of in that same pool. And I know it's very, it's perhaps hard to believe, but getting on an airplane to go fly and shoot a TV show
Yeah.
feels very much like getting on an airplane to fly to a finance conference. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I had a whole career in finance and strategy, and in regular corporate America, before I became a stay-at-home mom, and then got on Food Network. So my point is, it sounds like, oh, but it's so glamorous to go and shoot TV show. That sounds really glamorous, and there is a certain kind of coolness to it. Don't get me wrong, and that's not lost on me even now. But I will tell you, the logistics of, like, packing up all your stuff and knowing that you're saying goodbye to your family for 3 weeks is
Right.
is kind of the same no matter where you're going. So it's the logistics of being a working mom, and the hard goodbyes, and the all that is 90% of it, right? Then there's the,
Yeah.
okay, I had to learn the job, because the job itself is actually really hard. Doing a cooking show when you have so many things to remember, and we did $10 dinners live to tape, which means that once you started an act, we kept going until we went to a commercial break. So that
Right.
doesn't mean that
Right.
there wasn't editing, but it means that in general, like, we wouldn't stop. Like, I just kept going. So that's a lot to remember, like the order of
Sure.
this, and then this, and then this, and then, what if you forgot to put in the salt or whatever? There's sort of it's not a highly edited show. So that was, there was a lot to remember. And then there's, also making sure you're in the light, the logistics of being on TV and the camera, and which camera is, you got the million cameras on you. Which one is your camera you're talking to, and then, you're doing, a half-hour show with no script. So, and then there's the food, and then there's, and then there's, also then, oh, what do I look like? And, there are all these different
That's like the last concern. What do I look like? Yes.
Yeah. But, what you would think is the first concern, right? And then the other piece of it is, to be honest, looking at a very shiny, black, round lens
Exactly.
is not the warm, fuzzy feeling you get, when you're in the studio. When you're sitting on your couch at home, you're looking into eyes, but that person is not looking into eyes. That person is looking into cold, hard glass that offers you nothing. And there's it's just all silent, and all eyes are on you. And it's a big cavernous studio, and there are probably 40 people who are all being silenced, and cameras and lights, and it's hard. So there's I had to, learn the job. And I will tell you, I would watch episodes and think, oh my gosh, that was awful. It's hard. It's really hard. So I had
We're
to
always our
learn
own
on the
worst
job.
critic, though.
Well, I'll tell you, Melissa,
Well, and I'm not even my biggest critic. Believe me, the internet does a fine job of criticizing me for me.
You have to turn a blind eye to it.
Well, yes and no. Our rule is my husband looks at stuff like that, because if there's a theme that comes up over and over and over again, the truth is maybe there's a message to be heard there. So I don't discount and sort of say I don't care what anyone thinks. I do care.
right.
I'm here to connect. So I care what you think. I really do. Do I take it all in? No. But there's
That's what I mean.
Need, I think, to understand how people are perceiving your interaction. So then I'm going to get to the piece that I think is what your question was, which is, but then that element of like suddenly becoming famous, and like the world of celebrity, and the world of all of that. And that, I will say, is still pretty cool. Like when I get to go do a talk show and I get to meet people, that, and take pictures that my kids are excited about. They're like, Mom, I can't believe you met Dev Cameron. I'm like, I know, like this, So
Kids
that
are great.
piece of it, the celebrity piece of it, the oh my goodness, people come up to me on the street piece of it is frankly a fairly small, mostly fun, and I'm not Angelina Jolie, so I can still go to the grocery store, in my sweatpants.
I bet you get hugged a lot.
And I do. I'm sorry?
I bet you get hugged a lot, though.
I do. I get hugged a lot. But I think because I am really who I am on TV, I am that.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I think it would be exhausting to be someone different on TV, like even as actors. I don't mean people faking it, but even as actors, because people know you as an actor, and they don't really sort of know you. They know your character, where people really know who I am, and they sort of kind of know what I'm about. So that celebrity element to it took a little bit of getting used to, but I think it's very important not to buy into that and make that I will say, for people who kind of become, let's call them overnight celebrities, and I'm using that word celebrity very loosely. I get that I'm not on the A-list. I'm not confused, but certainly it's a very different world to have people recognize you. And I think I have seen people for whom that celebrity piece of it is sort of what they make the biggest piece of, make the biggest piece. And that's fine. Who am I to say what satisfies and what fulfills? For me, that would be a dangerous place to put my my identity in celebrity dumb. For me, it's a dangerous place for me to feel like I need to put on makeup to walk out the house.
Right.
I know people who will not who will not go out about without kind of being a certain level of made up.
Right.
That's great. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for us either. You'd think as entertainers that it would be, but no, it's very much the opposite.
We are talking to the fabulous Melissa D'Arabian from the Food Network and the Cooking Channel. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the things that you're doing now, and your cookbooks and your Facebook Live. We're going to talk about all that, and we're going to do that right after this break. We'll be right back.
Jack Nicholson here. You're listening to Michael Masci. Listen, All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So do what I do. Listen to Michael Masci.
Wow, can you believe that we got Jack Nicholson to do a bumper for us on our show?
You know what? It was nice to see him at that cocktail party. And
It was
hey,
wonderful.
can you do this?
He
After
said,
that?
I'll do anything you ask me to. But you know what? We are talking with Melissa the Arabian. So, Melissa, let's talk about some of the things that you're working on right now. I know that I've noticed that you've been doing Facebook Live. What is the exact title again? Is it Tuesday Somewhere?
Yeah, it's Tuesday night somewhere. Yeah, I do a weekly cooking show on Tuesdays, hence the title. It's Tuesday night somewhere. It's at 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific time. And my goal is to demystify getting a weeknight dinner on the table in a reasonable amount of time. So I cook everything live. And it's stuff that I make for my family, and I post the recipe on my website. And it's a lot of fun, and so people can log in and watch it live, and ask me questions or whatever, and then I make sure that I go back and answer the questions, and then I
Right.
post recipe. So it's all really simple dinner stuff. So it solves the question, what am I going to serve for dinner? At least one night a week, so that's easy. And then if people don't catch it live, now Facebook has the video playlists. So that's really nice. So people can
Yes.
go to my page and then click the videos, and they can see the playlist of all of the It's Tuesday Night Somewhere episodes. And then, and the titles are there, and then you can cross-reference that with, with my website. So you could even binge watch, on any day. You could just go and watch an episode and be like, oh, I want to, learn how to make that, whatever. Let me watch that video. It's there. And I, sometimes my kids are in it. So that's fun to watch with the kids. And then all of these, as of a few months ago, all of these episodes also get put out on YouTube. So if people like to watch on YouTube, then they can do that as well. So yeah, so it's kind of a fun live Facebook thing. And I love it because I kind of call it my cooking without false eyelashes edict. Because isn't that how we cook? I mean, it's a little bit silly when you think about the hair and makeup that we go through to cook
Yeah.
on TV. And it's like, who looks like that when they cook? Nobody.
Well, it's funny, it's amazing what Facebook has done and Periscope and the live interaction behind the scenes situation. People just love that. And I do notice that a lot of people are watching those. And I was watching one the other day, and I heard there was a big announcement. Your girls announced that you're going to try out for The Voice, aren't you?
Oh
Yeah,
my
we
gosh, that's
noticed
so
that.
funny
I'm
you
just
saw
kidding.
that one.
Yeah, we noticed
hilarious.
that. We're like, all right, she's going on The Voice now. No.
You were so funny, though. You were funny
Well,
because you
and-
said, what am I going to cook on there?
And just to clarify,
Kids are great.
that,
Yeah.
that was them saying that I'm going to try out.
I know.
Yes. Yes.
That was so
that was
cute.
them saying I'm trying out for The Voice. Well, and I'll just back up for a quick second. When I put the kids to bed at night, I sing to them as moms do, and I have sung to them since they were babies. And so there's a certain small repertoire of songs that I sing to them that they just love, and I rub their back and what. Anyway, so it's kind of like our.
And it's so sweet.
Okay,
Yes,
but-
we moms do the same thing. Yes.
Yes, so they love that, but the girls always just talk about like, oh, mom, you have just the best voice, and I think it just comes from them loving when I sing to them, from the time they were babies. I think that it's just a Pavlovian response to my singing voice, that it relaxes them, it makes them feel loved, it makes them feel connected, and I think music can do that. I think art does that. I think food does that, but I digress. So they have all of these warm, fuzzy feelings about how I sing. Now, in all fairness, in their defense, I sing well enough to do community theater and whatever. So it's not like I'm a horrible singer. But
No, of course
yeah,
not. That's
have you seen The Voice? I'm like, kids, are you joking? I can't do that. I sing in church. That's the level of my singing. So anyway, they are just so convinced that I should try out for The Voice that they just and I think it really comes down to this. I don't think that they really even think that I should try out for The Voice. Actually, I do think that they think that, but I think that they really just want to meet Adam Levine.
Oh, that's
oh.
they're such Adam Levine fans, and they love Miley, and they love Miley's sort of they loved Miley back, in the day, sort of
Yeah.
before Wrecking Ball Miley, and then
Right.
they kind
You
of
mean
were like
Hannah
a little bit
Montana
like,
Miley?
oh,
Yeah,
Wrecking
Hannah
Ball.
Montana.
Yeah, Hannah Montana days, yeah. And then when Wrecking Ball came out, you're like, oh my gosh, oh, what's going on? Cone, whatever, leotards or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know, whatever. But now they're sort of like, I feel like Miley has found, has come into her own. I'm like, okay, you're 9, so I don't think you're allowed to say that an adult, has come into their own. But that's
Pickup
we
is
love
crazy.
Miley on The Voice.
That is so funny.
So it's not
So
about
let me ask you.
it's really honestly about the it's about the judges,
judges.
and how much they love them.
Now, I know that your last book or your most current book is the Supermarket Healthy, right?
Right.
And tell everybody about that one.
Well, Supermarket Healthy and $10 dinners are actually truly, they're kind of companion books, to be honest. Both of those books, while they sound like they are about, budget cooking, or they sound like they're about maybe healthy eating, or or even dieting. And I get that social shorthand that we assign to catchy titles like $10 dinners and Supermarket Healthy. Both of those books are rooted in a much deeper philosophy, which is about celebrating food, celebrating seasonality, and being good stewards of our resources, whether that be earth resources or financial resources, or our bodies. So they both come from that space of stewardship. And so $10 dinners was really a book that debunks the myth that you have to eat junky processed food,
Right.
to eat well and to eat on a budget. And so the place that $10 dinners comes from is one of really let's have food that we can feel good about, serving our families and ourselves for on a budget. And so yes, there are lots of great kind of clever ideas and swaps and philosophies and top 10 lists and tips and tricks. There's all of that, but it's all really rooted in a love for food and honoring nature and seasonality. And yeah, there are lots of great tips and tricks, but it's sort of a bigger story than that. Also, $10 dinners is because they tend to be kind of a little bit more on the simple recipes that I think great starter recipes, great college student recipes, great newlywed type of recipes. But also great recipes just for someone who's looking for, to trim their budget. If you just cook down
economical way.
and follow the advice there, you will save money for sure. That's really my my long-term goal there. And Supermarket Healthy, while $10 dinner sort of led with the budget, and in second place was maybe the healthy and feeling good. Supermarket Healthy really leads with the healthy, but sort of in the back seat is also, let's be financially responsible with our resources. So let's also have accessibility and availability, which is why it's called Supermarket Healthy. How to shop at a supermarket, your local, Safeway or whatever,
Right.
to eat healthy and feel good. So sometimes I'm in a I will fall in love with one book or the other in various stages of my life, and it's great because it's such a great menu planner for me, because I know I like all the recipes, as I know my family does, and they're all mine.
Well, that makes us
But it's
happy
great
because
to have
we
a-
want to make those recipes too.
I would highly recommend anybody who write yourself a cookbook and then keep it in your kitchen, because it's awesome. Like, I flip through it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was amazing, and then I make the recipe, and I'm like, I've forgotten how much I love this recipe. This is
That's
awesome.
it.
Yes, you forget
yeah.
what you know how to do. Yes, it's like, oh, that's like a flashcard in college. Oh, I know this. Yes.
Write it down.
Yeah,
right?
it's just
Oh,
a
that's
great
great.
reminder of what to make and what to do. And I'm kind of in a I love Supermarket Healthy space right now. That I find myself just like, you know what, I'll make stuff from there, and I know it's going to be good. I know it's not going to be hard. I know it's not going to be overly expensive. I know I can get the stuff. I don't have to special order anything. So yeah, I love those books, and I love how they really are. They're really good companion books. They really are. They're really two different sides of the same coin, and they're both really from my kitchen and both family friendly. I would say Supermarket Healthy is perhaps slightly more sophisticated in its presentation and in its ingredients, just because we didn't have quite the financial constraints. So while I didn't, I wasn't serving caviar, I did have, some more interesting fish, and whatever, some that were a little bit off limits when I was really trying to keep to $10.
Right.
Right.
You've worked on so many different things, and I'm just curious if you're working on any projects right now. You've been on Guys Grocery Games, you worked on Chopped, all these fantastic shows. Is there anything that you're working on right now?
Well, we just finished shooting season 13 of Guys Grocery Games.
Oh my gosh.
And I've been a judge on that since season 1. So that's been a really fun project to be a part of. And I've really enjoyed that. That's been a lot of fun. And I think that, coupled with the Facebook Live, where I actually get to cook, because the Guys Grocery Game, I don't cook. I just show up. I eat, and I taste everyone else's food, and I let them, and I, get to talk about and judge that food, and I have a lot of fun with the judges, and with Guy, who is exactly who you think he is, and he's just a delight and wonderful to work with. And the judges, I have so much fun. Like, I feel like it's like summer camp to go back and see my judge friends. That's a really really special and fun show to work on. But the thing that I'm working on now that I'm really excited about is I'm actually writing my next book, and it's not primarily a cookbook. It's really more in the spiritual vein, and so that's been a lot of fun to be exploring food and faith, and going deeper in my in the philosophy behind food, and sort of the role of food, and its role as a gift to us. So I'm really deep in that, and that's been really cool. Over this past year, I've been I'm saying past year. It's actually really been past couple of years that I've sort of behind the scenes on a personal level really focused on food in that bigger context. And food's always been in that bigger context for me of, where food fits in this world, and what is food's role to us in the world, and how does that affect, how we look at body image, and how we and what we eat, and the ingredients we choose, and and what we choose to put into our bodies. So that has sort of been kind of what I've looked at over the past 7 years, and that's just ramped up. And then I did a 1-year certificate program with Princeton Theological Seminary, and
that's
finished that
wonderful.
a year ago. Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah, I loved it. It was really, it was pretty cool. I loved doing that, but that also informed my my thoughts on food, and so I'm writing on that, and that's the role of food in our society and in our home and to our bodies, and how that links into theology and spirituality is an area that I'm really loving on a personal level, and so I'm writing a book about that.
That's
awesome.
wonderful. We're going to be excited to read that.
girls.
We did
I'm
not
very
know you were a
excited about
woman of the cloth.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just wondering, is it too to put pastor on my business card?
No.
Awesome.
No, I think that's great.
It really, really is, because you have such an innate gift and such a way with people that people automatically gravitate toward you. And I'm just so delighted to discover that about you, that it's an important part of your journey. How food affects your faith, and how faith affects your food, and your relationship with preparing meals and using the ingredients. And I'm sure that kosher versus non-kosher, and healthy versus, what is unhealthy, as it is depicted in the scriptures. And we have a close relationship with Pastor Rick Warren, and also the Daniel Plan is some book that we enjoyed, and it has a lot to do with, food and healthy choices about Daniel.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's awesome
Yeah,
that you're on that path, because I would love to read your book. Okay. Knowing you the way that that we do, we would love to read that book.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, well, then good. I will when you know what? Here's the thing. I need to finish it.
Yes,
I want
yes.
to proofread it for you. Can I be your proofreader?
It's actually quite hard to not that cookbooks are easy. Cookbooks actually were
No.
surprisingly really hard too. But it's but this is for me. This is harder. But it's I can do hard things, right? We can do that.
Yeah.
I can do hard things.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Now
but
you've
it's
important to
hard.
balance yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I got one more. I keep going back to the TV stuff.
I
I got to ask
know.
you one more question because I'm a huge fan of the Food Network and all the shows. I got to ask you, to me, it seems like the Food Network people are all like one big happy family, and you guys all are always getting together, like Guy or Bobby Flay or Alton Brown. Is that true, or is it very rare to get together with all those people?
Of course, she's going to say it's true.
No, not whether they like each other or not. No,
No,
if
I
there's
understand the question.
you know what I mean.
Yes,
If you
okay.
get together a lot.
Here's the thing. It's both true and false.
Yeah.
Because here's the I get this a lot, that a lot of people are under the impression that I am employed by Food Network. That like Food Network is
Right.
my employer.
Right.
And we're not in production on $10 dinners anymore. Badly.
Right.
I miss the days of all the
Aw.
cooking shows and the whatever, but that is what it is. But I have a series that I think they're all going to come back, but not essentially all the same shows, the cooking shows. But anyway, but even when I'm creating like say $10 dinners, Food Network is really a purchaser of my creative content in a sense.
Okay.
So they sort of purchase my creative ideas and my creative content, and so then we go and we work on a show or whatever, and then they distribute it. So the relationship is one of a partnership, but it's not one of employment. So
Right.
it's not as though Food Network, when they have their holiday party, we're all showing up to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
We don't have a foodnetwork.com email, if that makes sense.
Right.
So to that end, it's not as though we sort of hang out all together. That said, the food world is a small world. So there are, just 2 weeks ago, I was at the Fabulous Food Show in Cleveland. Well, when I got there were other people from Food Network there. So, I saw Damaris and I saw Michael Simon, and so we see each other because we work in the same space, in the same food space.
Industry.
Right.
But it's not as though, or like Guys Grocery Game, they'll bring out different, I see Richard Blaze, I see Artie, I see Damaris, I see
Right.
Justin, I see Jeff Morrow. So we work in the same industry, so we get a lot of crossover, if that makes sense.
Sure. Absolutely.
So there you go. I mean, but we're not all hanging out at Chelsea Market, which is where Food Network is, and just hanging out there. But listen, we have meetings there, we have things there. So listen, if I go into Chelsea Market, whatever, chances are I'll run into someone else. But it's not as though we're hanging out. It's not like we have one corporate culture that encompasses everybody who ever cooks on Food Networks. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Right.
So it's both.
Absolutely, it makes
Yes,
sense.
it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
No, well, Melissa, it's been so wonderful having you on the show today, and thank you for doing this for us.
Absolutely. Really enjoy you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I will definitely circle back and do this again once I finish my book. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you, all of Blanca's family lives out there in Southern California. So when we come out there to visit, we'd love to get
love to
together
hang
with
out.
you and talk some more.
Yes, come on over and you can see the fabulous kitchen that is my, we moved out for 6 months and then redid this whole kitchen. So it is like my dream having people over to be like,
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Well, let me ask you, do you have a piano in the house?
If you don't get one.
Just lamenting that we do not have a piano in the house, but it's actually probably a good thing because none of my kids play piano, which I don't know how they escaped that since I didn't get piano lessons. But my little brother
need
was
one.
here over Thanksgiving with his family, and he is a very accomplished piano player and is the dean of a of a college in Princeton in music.
That
So
is
he's
awesome.
like a big musician and very, 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 very into music. And last time he came to see us, we were in a rental house because we were renovating this one that did have a piano. We all sat around the piano and he played, and it was wonderful. So when Uncle
Oh,
Matt was coming last week, the girls were like, "Wait, we have nothing for Uncle Matt to play." So it was sort of the first time that my girls said, "We don't have a piano." So I don't know.
Light bulb moment.
Yeah, there's
So
nothing
we'll,
like
we'll
having
see.
it.
Maybe we'll get a piano before you come visit, Michael.
That's
There
right.
you go. That sounds fantastic. Well, my friends out there, you got to check out Melissa the Arabian on Facebook Live, her Tuesday night somewhere,
Yes.
Facebook live streams, and also her book, Supermarket Healthy. And, we'll all be
$10
anxiously
dinner.
awaiting for your new book as well. But Melissa, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're awesome.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a great weekend.
You too.
And the best to your family. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye for now.
So there you have it. That's Melissa the Arabian. What a
How
wonderful person.
awesome.
She's
Just such a light of positive energy. And
you know what was amazing?
effervescent.
When we were on the cruise, when she was on the cruise with her family, I noticed how she was not stuffy or
No.
she gave every single person, she has a lot of fans,
Yeah.
and every single person that would go up to her and want to talk to her, she wouldn't rush them.
Right.
She would dedicate as much time as she possibly can to talk to those people. She's a special person. I
She
think
is.
she's very nice.
She's anointed.
And-
That is for sure. It chokes me up that she's.
Oh, the new book that
Oh,
she's
my
going to be doing.
goodness,
I know.
That's really insightful, and I think that there is such a need for people to have that kind of a book.
Absolutely. Well, my darling, another
Yes.
wonderful show.
Excellent show.
I'm actually working on trying to get through Skype. There's a way that we'll be able to actually do live video where we could actually have seen Melissa on
Yeah.
the show as well. So we
Right.
may be able to do something like that.
At
You
some
know,
point in the
yeah.
future, it's a
It
little
won't be-
too much technology
I mean,
for me.
Yeah.
Personally,
Well, I don't. Well, you won't have to do anything.
I
It just-
know that I have just what I can handle. I can
Well,
handle.
The funny thing is, I don't want the guests to have to be on the phone with us and have to hold
I
their
think
Facebook
that-
live stream and hold. So we can't do that. We're gonna figure out
millennial
something.
guests will get it.
I don't
They
know.
will get it. They love all that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. But
Well-
those of us who are, I think, moms and dads, maybe we're like, you know what? Just let me talk. I don't need to be seen.
Hey, listen, sweetheart. Why don't you tell everybody? I'm performing at the Colony Hotel in Palm Beach, which is right off of Worth Avenue, right at the end of Worth Avenue on Hammond. I'm performing there Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I start there 7:30 every night, and usually we go till about 10:30. But if it's real busy, we'll go till whatever. I mean, what
Right.
were we? This
Oh,
12:30 the other night on a Tuesday.
A weeknight, and the place was rocking.
Oh, they
It
had
was incredible. It's like an enormous house party, and it's a very tasteful house party. All these people are singing, and
Oh yeah. If you haven't been to the Colony, to me, it's just I don't think there's any place like it.
no, it's really enjoyable in the sense that you feel really it's intimate, welcoming,
Yep.
and it's comfortable. It's like
Impeccable
being in someone's
service.
home.
The food is fantastic.
Yes.
The entertainment, not too
No,
shabby.
that's you.
Not too
I
shabby.
mean, I don't get to enjoy you playing here at home. We practice, we work, etc.
Yes.
But to be able to go out, have a nice cocktail, and sit there and actually focus on you, showered, shaved, in your nice outfit. Hey, I'm all for that.
Oh, I got to shave. That just reminds me, I got to shave. Oh, I'm
And-
off tonight.
And also,
Friday night, and I'm off.
just
sorry.
to let everybody know, the Colony Hotel in Palm Beach is also starting new happy hour at the Polo. So half off drinks Sunday through Thursday night, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So if you'd like to try my favorite, a Bloody Mary, $5.50.
You like those Bloody Marys?
You know what? Like I said before, my cardiologist said you need to have vodka instead of wine or anything else that'll be contraindicated with your medicine.
Was that a prescription that he wrote?
I think he did.
Okay.
So I'll gladly take that.
So you're filling the
prescription.
prescription. Okay.
Yes.
And,
Bloody Mary.
while we're on the subject of the Colony, I do want people to know, there's another where I play right behind me is the Royal Room. And we have some unbelievable artists that are going to be coming. Why don't you tell them some of the names
That's
that are going to be
right. We have
here
on
this season?
December 3rd, T. Oliver Reed. He'll be performing in the Royal Room as well on the 10th. And then upcoming December 14th through the 17th, the 4 freshmen.
Oh, I love them.
And then the 27th through the 30th, we have Lainey Kazan.
My Big Fat Greek Weddings.
That's your mom
Remember?
and dad's friend.
Yes,
You know?
they are friends with Lainey
So I'm
today.
sure we'll get them to get into the colony to see your.
Yeah, and as we do some more podcasting, we'll tell you some of the other folks that are going to be coming. But people like Steve Tyrell and John Pizzarelli and Mary Wilson and Tony Danza, by the way. He's not on the list. He's actually closing the season. Tony Danza is going to be here, and Clint Holmes. And
I worked with Tony Danza.
yes, you did.
That was on Star Search.
That's
in
right.
1985. So I'll make sure to get on over there and whip out my VHS tape.
Oh yeah, you got to come over and say hi to him. He's such a nice guy. But you know what?
Sings so well. Oh my goodness.
And he looks fantastic.
I know.
It's like he didn't age a day.
Not at all. He looks really great.
I know, right? But that was a great show. Thank you so much, my darling.
Thank you very much. You know what? That was an excellent guest, and I'm really happy that she was the one that kicked off this inaugural in the United States broadcast.
The United States inaugural real broadcast. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Ciao for now.
Thank you for joining us on Elite Spotlight. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you follow and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if something you heard today inspired you or made you think or simply made you smile, leave us a comment and share the episode with someone who needs to hear it. Every follow, comment, and share helps Elite Spotlight grow and helps us bring even more incredible stories to you. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep your spotlight shining. We'll see you next time on Elite Spotlight.